So right off I-75 between Toledo and Detroit is the River Raisin National Battlefield Park. I mean, this is just right off the highway in a town called Monroe. Just went through the video about this and listened to a Park Service gentleman tell me a little bit about the significance of this. It all has to do with the War of 1812, and I'm going to walk a little bit of the grounds and give just a little bit of my understanding of all this so far. It's interesting, right here by the Visitor Center, the flag of Kentucky is flying. That's because a lot of, well, not a lot, but some of the troops that came here and fought this battle that happened here were from Kentucky, and they were organized in Georgetown, Kentucky. Something I'd never heard of before. Okay, so it is my understanding that what happened here was the only battle to occur in the state of Michigan. Now, Pappy is a history buff, but I tend to get details a little bit mixed up. But this area right in through here is called Frenchtown, or it used to be called Frenchtown, and it is my understanding that what happened here was because the British had come down from Canada and had taken over, had broken through Detroit and had come down, and I think there were some forts through here and things like that, particularly this area that they had taken over and set up their troops. That was in, I believe, the end of 1811, and this is the area that they had taken over. Now I'm walking out to the area that they call Frenchtown, and since the British had come in through here, I think it all revolves around money, and I think the British came into this area because they were trying to, you know, monopolize on the fur trade and some of the resources that were all up and through Michigan, Minnesota. There's a fort up on one of the Great Lakes that they had taken over, and so when they had come down in here, as they had come down through Detroit, they were just, you know, they had used Indians as part of some of their soldiers and things like that, and I think the Indians were willing participants because of the white man and some of what we had been doing to the Indians. Now, nobody is 100% to blame or 100% right, and so who knows all of the facts of the matter, but the Indians did join, the Canadians did join. What happened here is there was some Indians that held this place and some Canadians that were holding this this place right here at the River Raisin. What happened is a battle that was put together by by Governor Harrison in Indiana, and those Kentuckians came up and joined them here on the river in Frenchtown, and there, you can look online. There's a lot better explanation of all this, but a lot of I'm just losing my mind here. Trying to recall the details of history is not good for me. I'm not great in that area, but you know, it eventually got back into American hands, blah, 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 DDD. And then you hear about Perry pushing back the British into Canada and all that stuff. And then you hear about the Star-Spangled Banner and Chesapeake Bay and all the stuff that's happening on the East Coast. You know, that's the War of 1812 that we all know about, as some of those big things. But what happened here, maybe a little bit smaller in scope, but not so much. You know, as I was listening to the Park Service guy talk about how all this kind of played out, it just reminded me that war is an ugly thing. Wish we didn't have to go through it. Wish we didn't have to deal with war. War is it brings out man's good side in some ways, but in so many ways it brings out the bad side of mankind. And since mankind, because of Adam and Eve and all that stuff, is depraved and sinful, you know, anything that happens like this, where people are trying to get along, or people are trying to even exert power and influence, it just it a lot of the times never ends well. Some of the things that happen as a result of this, and they were already happening even before this battle, was the forced death march of some of the Indians and their tribes that settled in the Great Lakes region. We hear the Trail of Tears of the Cherokees down in the South, relocated out in Oklahoma because of an order by President Andrew Jackson. But we don't hear of a lot of these other things. And once again, you know, in the history books we'll see that, you know, we fought the Indians and it was a valiant effort and things like that. History isn't as clear cut as just placing the blame like that, and then even placing the blame on us for the forced marches and the death marches and the Trail of Tears, things like that. Yep, Indians were involved here, and there was lots of bad stuff that was done. But it was happening on both sides. Just need to stop along the way as you travel and journey to different places. See what's along your route. Try to understand the history of your area, just to get to know what's going on, and maybe learn some lessons and that sort of thing. Pappy's rambling. I'm going to cut it off right now, and if there's something else I want to say, I'll put it back on. But I'm out on the trail that goes out to Frenchtown, just enjoying just a little walk after some training that I've done this week in Livonia, Michigan, for the company that I'm working for, U.S. Ecology. It's been a long week of sitting in the classroom, listening to things. It's just good to get out and absorb some history. This is where they're going to recreate what Frenchtown looked like back in the early 1800s. Back in the distance you can see the River Raisin, and I think the Park Service does not have money to be able to put something like that together, as far as the capital and the money, and so I think there's a local effort to build this and do some living history, and I don't know what the time schedule is for that, but I think that's kind of cool. I love stuff like that. Anyway. And this is the River Raisin.
Here at the River Raisin battlefield, we try to show a lot of the different history and the importance that it would have here. And one of the major things that was important in the area of Michigan was the beaver trade, where you would have French beaver traders going up and down all of the rivers to both trade with the American Indians and to trap beavers. They would take the beavers back to England, where they would get turned into beaver felt hats, which were very common amongst many of the people in England. Another thing that we'll do around here is demonstrations of black powder weaponry, which was the primary weapons used in this time period. We'll give demonstrations talking about their proper use and functionality.
Good deal. Thank you, man.
Yep, you're very welcome.
I'm not going to read all that, but I'll put a video. It's in regard to Kentucky's part here. And kids group out here today. You can see a lot of elementary schools put together these bags, kind of decorating the area. So for the most part, what happened here was not good for the Americans, even though we did turn the tide throughout the war. What happened here, just to be clear, was a defeat for the United States. British took over this area. Eventually, like I said, sent Harrison in, but things did not go well. Harrison didn't necessarily come through here. He was in command. There was a general named Winchester that came and was captured, and you're just going to have to look up the rest of the history on that. This field commemorates those that died. Being Memorial Day weekend, fitting to be here and think about those that have sacrificed their lives for good or bad, or for whatever motives they had coming into this war. Life is messy. And like I said, war even messier. Here out of River Raisin National Battlefield. Kids are out here listening to reenactors. Got to listen to one of them there and be in the video. Cool. It's May 27th, 2016. Happy out.